All right, hello, what's going on? This is Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined as always by Jack Bauer and Bracken Crocker. Today we have some results to talk about from the Spartan Ultra World Championships in Morzine. Then we're just going to kick around a couple different theoreticals around the ultra space and really what that kind of means for us. Then we're just going to chit chat. So, Jack, you were a believer that this was going to be good coverage. And it was pretty good coverage.
It was good coverage. You got to admit it.
I did not watch all of it. I will admit that for sure.
I will also had other things to do on the 4th of July weekend, but
Especially
yeah.
El Ricky was winning from like the first step. So I was like, okay, this race is
Yeah.
over as soon
Yeah.
as it started. But the men's race seemed to be a little bit more interesting until about the midway. But the coverage looked really good. BK, you get locked in?
I could not get locked in, but after the fact, just getting through it in chunks on the treadmill.
Jack, you taking a victory lap on this one?
If
He
for
deserves it.
that's the only victory lap I'm getting on this race. But
Oh yeah, that's
yeah.
true.
definitely. No, the coverage though, honestly, it was fantastic. When they had a nice mix of now's a good time to have some athlete interviews because we just don't have we're just a little limited right here. We've shown the same part of the mountain for a while in a row, and we don't have eyes on the leaders necessarily. So let's give a 5-minute interview about Cassandra Gill or Ulrika or someone before the race, what they were thinking, and then they'd go back to the studio and stuff. They had a nice good balance when it was the right time to show race footage, go back and forth. But whenever there was race footage, I thought it was fantastic.
They had a drone to get that ridge running shot. Looked amazing. It looked like something that you would get from like a footwear commercial for trail running shoes. And that was, if you haven't checked this coverage out, it's worth just seeing the landscape. And if you have a budget to travel for a Spartan race, this one
This is it.
would have to be on the short list.
Does this is this the new race that you'd recommend?
Has there been a ridge run like that?
I've known about this for several years because they always show Morzine has been either a beast usually or a super in the national series for France, and it's also hosted the European Championships in the past. And that ridge line, like you mentioned, it's always been like just that prominent feature at one point in the race, and it looks so good this race.
It's like sky running.
Yeah. Remember that's what I told you, Tomas, who was doing the course design. He's like, you're going to be sky running for like 10K.
That's crazy.
It's awesome. So I watched 2 other races this weekend as well. The replay of Golden Trail Series Ultra Marathon du Mont Blanc, and then not Ultra, just Marathon du Mont Blanc, and then I watched the Mount Marathon in Alaska.
Yeah.
And I've watched both of these things before, but never back to back on a Spartan race coverage. And I realized that we give other races grace because they get so far away from civilization. That in both of those races, they do lose coverage at times, and they kick to athlete interviews, or they go back to the start line. And we get really mad when they do that during OCR. And we give them grace when they're in the mountains. But finally, we saw this coverage where they're in the mountains and they put on a production that was on par with the rest of them. Yeah, you lose them at sometimes in the mountains, but they kept them for the most part, and they had good things to kick to, and the coverage was good while it was there. So this was suddenly on par with that. And it showed how frustrating it is when you lose coverage when you're not miles away from civilization from civilization, yes, but from the start line and other OCR. But anyways, watching 3 productions back to back to back showed me that this was as good as all those.
That's important to keep in mind. And when you start looking around at other sports and the way that they are, like what the narrative is within the community, like it seems like it's a lot of the same stuff. Like I was on a triathlon board this morning, and it was a lot of like, oh, we need to talk about how to grow the sport, this and that. And I'm like, you guys seem pretty good. You don't need to do all that. And like CrossFit's the same way. They're always talking about how to grow, like what the problems are, and same kind of stuff that we say. But it's like when I'm looking at those sports, I'm like, no, they're actually doing fine. But it's always going to be the people within are always going to want a little bit more. So, but it's nice to see when they do deliver for the community, and they really did on that. Who does this? Was it just
Local
Spartan?
TV station there?
But like for like they just like cover it because they need stuff to talk about? Like this, like how does it
I
the
don't. It's
partnership?
probably such a it's probably such a driver to the area, like tourism wise. You saw they had over 10,000 people who signed up for this race. It's always been like the
Wow,
most popular one, if not, second most popular in Europe through the years, and it's probably like a big identity for them locally.
a summertime event.
Yeah, at a mountain.
So let's
But
get
yeah,
into these results really quick then. Or Jack, what do you got? You got something to?
I was just gonna add like the athlete interviews at the right time. I feel like that's something that like Bracken, you helped with the coverage. Rich, you were busy. Blue
Always.
Mountain in Canada a couple years ago for the Spartan National Series. We went around the day before and we were asking Sean Stevens Whale, Emma Cook Clark, just some of them for quick little 1 to 2 minute tidbits, and then those were mixed into the coverage like throughout the race. And I thought that that was some of the best coverage that OCR has ever had from the OCR report.
Mhm.
And we saw this weekend how effective it can be. Once again, I'm sure I didn't watch the UTMB or the Mount Marathons that you're referring to, but it sounds like they did the same exact thing. I think that if most of the athletes are going to be there anyway the day before, if you can just go around and get a few things like that and then disperse it throughout the coverage, that makes such a big difference. And I think that that could be something OCR report does going forward.
Yeah. And what it comes down to is, does Jason have a big enough budget to travel early?
Right.
Yeah,
Right. It's a one-man
totally.
show. He's handcuffed half the time.
Yeah.
So the results of this race on the women's side, I mentioned it, Ulrike Evensen kind of ran away from it from the start. She finished in 8 hours and 32 minutes. Petra Avervela was second in 9:20. Yvonne Zhu, is that how we decided that was said? BK, I think you
I
had
think
that.
it's Sue,
Sue?
but I haven't had it. I didn't receive any feedback on that. I think XU is Sue in
They're not
English, our
not locked
closest
in?
approximation.
They're not locked in Beijing.
Not as dialed as I should be.
Well, they are. They need to be more dialed if they're not, if you're not getting feedback. That's
I
not
feel
on
like
you.
it's a
That's on them.
two-way street.
Well, you,
All
you
right.
you drafted her, and she and
Darn right.
and then Claudia Zubacata was fourth, and then Cassandra Gill was fifth. She said, New Rochelle here. Question. Trivia question. What cross-country powerhouse Division One is based in New Rochelle?
Ewo.
Iona.
Iona. Nice, Jack.
Yeah.
Not where you'd expect an ultra athlete to live.
No.
On the men's side, Luca Pescolderone takes the win in 6:48. Thibaut Jean was 7:03. Nicolas Dam finished third. Jonathan Garcia in fourth. And Sven Lusty was in fifth to round out that top five. First American coming through was our guy Elmer King from Mount Joy, from Pennsylvania. I had no idea our guys from PA. Mount Joy,
Where's that in the
popular
state?
band.
Is that like Palmerton area or close to you?
No, it's more out like west toward like Lancaster,
Okay.
like even west of like Westchester. But that's where Mount Joy, the band, popular band here in Denver. White people love Mount Joy. White people love Mount Joy.
Jack, you do some research here. I see you. I see your eyes are glancing everywhere.
He just doesn't.
Fingers are moving.
He's trying to figure out a way
I'm
not to tell
sorry,
the fantasy
I'm
results.
No. I'm pulling up the fantasy results at this moment.
I thought
he's
you were
looking-
fat checking Sue.
No.
He's gonna try to spin.
So it sounded just like Sue or Shu. Like there was like a soft H in there a little bit. I couldn't tell
What'd I say?
perfectly. You said Shu, so you were wrong, Rich.
No, that's not true. I'm gonna have to check.
You said Tverdik.
Listen, I may be somewhere between the 17th and 117th best OCR athlete of all time, but
It's true.
I may just be the ultra drafting goat.
So far,
You just don't want me in an ultra draft.
Pretty good.
Who wins the world's toughest one typically?
Me.
Bracken.
Does he?
Yeah.
Locked in.
Yeah. On a quick side note, actually, we could talk about this during the race, just on the 17th best of all time. Rich, let me share the screen. I'll give the results.
Oh yeah, we want to see these results.
I don't.
This was Jack. If you didn't win this one, you might be washed.
I know.
This is this was handed to you on a platter. There's a whole bunch of names. I had no idea who any of them were. You had your whole spreadsheet situated, and you still came through with that donut. With
so
that
right
bagel.
here, we've got it. Bracken picks 3 athletes on the podium, 3 of the 6 on there. Sven,
what a pick.
who ended up, past 2 years he won the ultra here, and then Elmer King represented America 25 total points. That's a really good score. That's
good
exactly
score,
what I got
BK.
to win Big Bear.
Thank you.
Good
So,
score.
Yep. Rich picking the men's winner, second place. High Rocks athlete also, Petra.
Boom.
And then GGLD, or as you referred to her, because you
Came
couldn't
through
say
for
her
me.
name.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah. So
Huge
you've
pick.
got you did pretty well there. Got 37 points. So honestly, not the most impressive showing.
Not great.
Not great, but even less great was my team.
Couldn't even field the team.
Who couldn't even finish. Once I saw Miriam, I'm like, it's over. I was even awake when this race happened. I was messaging you guys like 12, 1 a.m. Like, I'm like, this is my time.
Did she start?
She did.
She did. What did she pull out?
I was talking with Patrick about that. Because basically once you DNF a race, you're no longer shown in the results, like the live tracking anymore. But I remember seeing her at the like 30K to go or something like that. So she stuck around for like at least 20K.
Oh wow.
I think she made it into the transition area. I'd have to do a better comparison of times relative
but
to everyone else. But
wasn't in the front then, right?
She was like 5th to 6th at that point. I'm like, wow, she's playing the long game. And normally Miriam's like, I'm gonna win from step one. So it was very surprising to see that. But you know, her priorities are somewhere else. It's been a couple of years since she's done OCR.
Nice pick with that first overall, Jack.
Yeah, I know. 259.
Jack was trying to spin this. He was trying to be like, oh, but like if we do the last place thing, we might be able to tie. It's like, dude, you can't tie with 4 finishers. Get out of here.
I got like 14 because there were 13 women right there. Rich, you beat me by 3 or 4.
You had 4 finishers. You didn't even accumulate.
Inch or mile, Jack.
I know that. Look, I'm claiming last place. And Bracken, speaking of last place, let's take a look at this overall season leaderboard. In last place, we have Bracken with a 4-6 record.
Not enough ultras.
Not enough ultras. You did whoop us in Alula right there. So
wow, that's true. Jack, you're bombing cool. These international ultras, dude. Come on.
I know the international part. That's the saddest. I don't like it.
And this is without the High Rocks, the 2 High Rocks drafts that Jack missed,
if I'm not a member of the draft,
I'm just saying you wouldn't have done any better.
I
would have 10 wins.
I won this High Rocks and got second in this. I'm getting no worse than second place in a High Rocks draft. Bracken, on the other hand, like ugh.
Look at Big Bear though. That is a 1-point difference from everyone being 5-5.
Every point counts, Bracken.
This is a close season.
This is
nice,
all right.
Nice
who
job,
screwed you over?
Person in last.
We're gonna look. We have to look at Big Bear. So who? Let's check the results. Big Bear, Bracken versus Rich. So we had Julie Best edging out Faye Morgan, and that right there, or Balin Bean edging out Sean Roberts. That right
Vivian
there is
and
the
Raina.
difference.
Yep.
So all these 1-point differences. That's what it comes down to.
It's cross country racing at its finest.
Love it.
Yeah.
He got passed in the chute.
So I'm looking at this. We've got a lot of drafts that we're going to do the rest of the year potentially. We need to figure out the schedule, but here were some ideas. What are your thoughts?
For the Ultra at Fort Wayne, that's
I don't know if you want to.
About today. It's a maybe.
Yep, that's a maybe. That's fine. But Utah Beast, definitely. FISO, maybe we can combine the 3K and the 14K into one potentially, because we do have a lot of athletes going over there or down to Costa Rica. Probably gonna have Seattle. Maybe we can do the same thing with OCR Worlds, like combine the 3K and the 15K.
I'm not sure. OCR Worlds might be out, dude.
Okay. I think we need to do it.
We can't. If we do that, we just declare OCR to be dead.
Yeah, we literally.
We've already we talked about how the OCR Europe, we didn't do anything for that, and that race is going to be better than OCR.
Yeah, because you guys are scared of doing a race like that.
Dude, we just smoked you in this whole international race. There was
I don't think that one's an ultra
thing.
What have you done for us lately? Come on. Stat guy.
Come on,
Zero guy.
Made this spreadsheet for you. All right. So anyway, probably Seattle. We'll do that, and Croatia, I think, would be worth drafting.
Croatia for sure, I think, is a good call. Trifecta
Greece.
Potentially, yeah.
No, we did that last year. That was fun.
Yeah,
are we drafting the 40, the 60, and the 80? How does that work?
I didn't put it on the list, but if
what
you
about
want
that 400?
Hold on. 60 meter plus 80 meter plus 100. Okay. So we'll do all those. No. Yeah. So world's toughest mudder, Bracken, we'll just put him down for a win right there. Abu Dhabi Beast, since it is a beast, and Deca Worlds, we'll try to come up with some way of drafting that. So yeah, we've got some racing coming up, guys. Even if we don't draft it all.
Then there should be 2 Hyrox majors in there.
Exactly. I don't have the date yet.
4 more wins for you, guy. But
you see this right here? Vienna started the season with a win, not you,
well,
Rich.
it's because I drafted myself there. That wasn't.
What happened in Vienna?
I had Kent and
how did I have 52 points?
And I had me and Kent. So that's how. Right. Or no, is that true? Maybe you had Kent.
Hyrox Bracken.
Oh, you
taking
had me.
Rich.
That's
taking Nagita.
Yeah.
Taking people who don't like placing in single digits.
You screwed that one up bad, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I took Kent.
Yeah. Yep. Rich, your team pretty solid. Back that James Kelly, what an improvement. 9th in Vienna, 3rd in the world, or 2nd worlds.
That's where it was all year.
My team, you guys just got waxed. But all right,
whatever. We don't need to do all this.
Yeah.
So the ultra. So this is a great race. I'm glad that they are doing this 50K. We've talked about this a considerable amount about how this is a good spot for OCR to be in, and I guess really what it got me thinking a little bit more, and we talked about this just kind of in jest, and because there is the Deca Ultra that is coming up, I figured we'd just spend a lot of time talking about ultra racing and kind of what that means. So I guess because it just seems like, and I said I was on a triathlon board, I was kind of like trying to figure out when the first, because the Ironman is an ultra, right? It's an ultra triathlon. And that took place basically like 4 or 5 years after the first actual official triathlon took place. So there seems to be this want or this need for people to go further, take it a little step beyond what has been done. And I guess why are we doing this? What are we doing ultras for? Because it's happening in every space, right? It happened in OCR. It's going to happen in hybrid. Maybe it'll happen even more in hybrid down the road.
2 weeks from now. Yeah.
So why are these important to us?
Well, there's 2 answers for this. First answer is the positive humanity answer, which is people look at something, and you talk about the start of the triathlon. It was what, 2 Navy guys or 3 guys challenged each other to do this
for the Ironman. Yeah, something like that.
Mount Marathon was a bar bet. People were in there drinking. He said, I bet I can run to the top of the mountain and down in under an hour. UTMB, these things are big hiking, and someone says, I wonder if we could run the whole thing without stopping. And someone said, I wonder if we could do it under a day, kind of thing. Like, these are challenges. People say, could a human do this? Let's try. But the reason it sticks is less fun to talk about, which is it gives slower people an option until the fast people get there. Like, I can't be good at this. I'm just going to keep going longer until there's something that I can do while walking. And I say that as someone who loves ultras.
I mean, that's even the case in like high school, right? The slow athletes run the 2 mile,
3,200,
and it just keeps going up and up.
Yep.
Throughout. And I think that is right. But there seems to be a bit, I think that first point resonates more with athletes. Like, what are we capable of? Right? The competition piece, for you to want to go into something like this and be competitive, that just seems like a lot to go through, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to needing to or wanting to understand what you can accomplish as a human being. And when you put your mind to something, what can get done?
We're talking about humanity. It's like, all right, we went to the moon. We're going to Mars next. It's like eventually there's always a bigger goal. Allegedly. That's going to be the most controversial comment on this show so far, or today. But anyway, yeah, just like another example, the Tour de France. Like, how many people are like, oh, let's just do a 4 to 6 hour bike ride basically every day for 3 weeks in a row, all the way around France. It's like, it's impressive what the human body can do. And I know that that's changed through the years as bike technology has got better. And I wonder if shoe technology has kind of made it with you know, better cushioning, better traction, more information available on training and stuff, if that's kind of led to more of an ultra resurgence.
Think
Shoe
so.
tech definitely on the road.
Yeah.
But if you could have more cushioning, like, I mean, some of these trail shoes, they've got like 40 millimeter stack height for a trail shoe, which is ridiculous in my opinion.
The cool thing is that, like, I talk tongue in cheek about we just go until there's something long enough that we don't have to run anymore. But the cool part of that is that the longer it goes, the more your mental game matters compared to your physical game. It starts like on track, like probably this in the sprints probably, and then it starts going like this, and then you get to probably the marathon and it's probably somewhere around here, and then it starts to change. And that's, I probably won't stand by that statement super like strong, but somewhere along the line, the mental starts to matter more. And mountain ultras is one of those places. And that's cool for people to say, I can just out tough you. I can outlast anyone.
It's a different element for people that either believe that they're just hamstrung by their genetics, or believe that their mental strength, or that mental strength is a more interesting component of competition, and a way to really quantify who is mentally the toughest and giving them their flowers for that, as opposed to, like I said, like the 100, the 200, like, not like there's a mental part of the training and the technique and everything, but it's all physical.
Isn't it interesting though, with this, the whole mental side, if you look at, say, the death race or hurricane heats or anything like that, some military challenge, they're not necessarily the ones who would win an ultra race. Like, we're looking at the mental race side. Yeah, goofy games.
The cool thing about long ultras is that in almost any other distance known to humanity, you cannot really get past your genetics. Like, your skill set is your skill set. You cannot make it to the NBA if you are not physically tooled to do so. You can't make it to the Olympics.
Muggsy Bogues, ever heard of him?
Bro?
Freak of nature physically. Yeah. Muggsy Bogues dunked a volleyball at 5'3". That's a freak of nature.
That's pretty good.
He is the twitchiest man known to earth.
He was fun.
So anyway, Olympic running, you can't get there without the right genetic makeup. Someone can win Moab 240 with almost any genetic makeup. Like, almost, as long as you are an able-bodied human with a mostly functioning respiratory system, you can run 15-minute miles all day long if you train hard enough and get tough enough. And that's the allure, that I don't have to be more talented than you. I can just be better at this. You can choose how tough you want to be. You can't choose how fast you want to be.
To a certain extent. Like where you said, where that certain line is.
Like, your ceiling is your ceiling. Anyone, if they wanted to, could learn to be tough enough to run 200 miles. Not everyone could learn to run a 4-minute mile, no matter how tough you are.
And I think this is where that line of, like, what is goofy and what is actually good competition kind of comes in.
Where would you put this race?
The Spartan?
Yeah.
I like this race. I don't think this should change. I think this
I was
Spartan
say
50K is like as good as it gets. Like, I think it's as close to a perfect race that OCR can come up with.
It's the right duration. It's true to brand, where you have a championship at altitude in the mountains, but it's also a beautiful venue, rugged. You have tons of different types of terrain. It's the right duration for fitness can beat the toughness, but if you're out there long enough, toughness is going to make a little bit of a difference right there. And a lot of things can go wrong, but a lot of things can go right. I think it's the perfect venue, perfect race. I'd do it again in 2025 if I were them.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the same for WTM. The venue changes, but the feel is always kind of the same. The challenges are generally the same. So I don't think that needs too much of an overhaul either. I think that they have these things kind of checked off. And now OCR is going shorter. It's like, how can we do this at 40?
Have I mentioned recently that I was here at the beginning of Spartan Race? I said that recently.
I've heard.
You're an OG, bro.
So the argument at the beginning were that there were runners courses and non-runners courses. And the allure of OCR was that runners and strength athletes, or just athletes, could meet and have an equal playing field. And they quickly realized that Hobie was just going to outrun everyone. Cody was just going to outrun everyone. And so they started talking about these norm courses. Norm would make, he was a race director, and he would make the nastiest course possible. He told me one day before a race, he's all smiling. He's like, "You're going to love this course. It's so good." I said, "Why?" He's like, my goal was that there'd be less than a mile of running in this mountain race. The rest would have to be hiking or through such nasty things." And he was just glowing. He was so proud of himself. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of, but people loved it.
He was like, what, Wintergreen, right?
I think it was New Jersey. I don't know what it was. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did those courses, like the epically
Northeast
crazy Northeast race.
Yes. Yeah, Palmerton. And he was so proud of it. And I was like, you're missing the point as the race director. You're trying to get rid of running. It's a race. It's a speed-based thing. But people loved the idea of just like the sufferfest, the grind, bringing it back together. And then the sport just got too good. Didn't matter what course you made anymore. The fast people were going to win it. Like, the nastiest courses on record were won by the fastest people. And there's no denying that. So I think ultra, going longer now, has become that version for people, which it is the equal playing ground where people can go out and just, you have an Austin Azar can compete with an Anthony Kunkel. There's no running race on earth which they should match up in, but they do there. And Austin, was hours ahead by the end. And you have people that are Olympic trials level runners and people who probably can't break 20 in a 5K, and you can't tell who's going to win. So I think the ultra component of that, the even playing field, really speaks to the core of what OCR wanted to be from the start. And unfortunately, so does ultra short course. We watched that 400-meter race coverage, or at least the replays. It's not that running dependent.
OCR short course?
That 400 where they came up this weekend.
Yeah, the ultra short course. Sweden. Jeez, my brain. Yeah. Cloverfield. Just over and over.
Anyway, those two actually do accomplish what people set out to accomplish in the beginning, which is don't make it the fastest runner is going to win.
Right. Right. And that's interesting that it's kind of has shifted, because that was always my issue with, as a runner coming into OCR, when people would complain about a course being suited for people who are fast. It's like, this is a foot race. What is the problem here? Like,
I'm sorry, you cover X amount of distance faster than anybody. How do you do that? On your feet. How do you do that? By running.
I'm sorry you don't like to run. The training does not lend itself to you, and you'd rather just be like, hey, I'd rather the fitness not matter, and I'd want the toughness to matter. But it is funny that it's shifting into that's a great point, BK. It's like shifting to the longer things, and that's how it was for the ultra marathon, how it is for the ultra triathlon, right? It's like who can, I mean, triathlon maybe not as much anymore, but who can sustain, who can be the toughest. Like, just make it longer. Don't make it so there's 100 meters of running in a 7-mile course. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. So that actually, this is kind of a good transition. So we're talking about different course designs and stuff while I was watching the race coverage about an hour one into the race. So not the timestamp, but like once the race started. Giles, he's in charge of the competitive side of Spartan now, that Chris Maltby's gone, as far as I'm aware, or at least that's what it sounded like in the interview. He said that he is going to encourage less standardization for competitive races going forward. So race directors are going to have more flexibility to be innovative when designing courses for competitive, so like a championship or a series race. That's what it sounded like.
Compared to how OCR is now standardized, like, what do you like?
I mean, it is pretty standardized. Like, allow them to use certain parts of the terrain as opposed to.
You think it's standardized right now?
For sure. In terms of sprints, only use rings. On the
stuff like that, but the layout.
It's not cookie cutter, but they have rules that they don't like. You don't see baseballs in sprints. You don't see nunchucks in the sprint, that kind of thing.
Not just.
Did you hear that sound? Is that the sound of the Olympic door clanging shut on us? I think that's what it is. I mean, that's my camera saw my hand.
Yeah, it popped back on. It's following you around. But that's
back off, UC.
That's great. I mean, if that's the case, and it is because they're like, well, we don't need to have Spartan Race be standardized to make the Olympics or whatever. That doesn't necessarily need to be 1-1. If they're going to, like, do you think that they are looking at the pentathlon like it's a win, like that they accomplished their goal?
Maybe.
And now they're like, hey, we did it. Let's just go back to the way it was.
I don't know.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, that doesn't guarantee it's going to change, but the fact that he openly discussed it on
Huge.
yeah, that's a good step in the old direction, I guess.
I'm gonna bring it back, baby.
Yeah. Another thing that he said, if you want to jump to this, during that same interview, he was talking with Fran for, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. He mentioned in 2025 there will be a Super World Championship for Spartan Race. So that means there's going to be a different World Championship for basically every distance besides stadium at this point. You'll have a sprint, which is what's happening in Croatia, a beast, which is in Abu Dhabi, the ultra, which is in Morzine, and then some to be determined location for the super next year. I don't know if the rest of those courses are going to stay where they're at, but is that the right move? Is it overdue? How are you guys looking at that?
I want to be negative about it. I do. But because our national series is non-existent almost in participation, maybe it's time for world majors like this. Maybe now there are 4 count, let's say Tough Mudder Infinity, whatever that's called, happens again. And now you got 5 tentpole events. And like High Rocks, where all the athletes travel around to different countries, maybe that's what OCR can aspire to be. You send the best to the sprint, super, beast, ultra, and 6-hour, and that's the sport now. And I think that'd be a pretty cool version of the sport. So historically, they announced an event and it never happens. But let me just be positive and say it's going to happen, and let's all jump on board and make it the Spartan Majors. Great.
But they're not calling it Spartan Majors. They're calling it World Championships, which is
got to add that World
same
Championship
thing.
title to everything.
We don't need more world champions. And if they're not going to pay out their athletes, why are they putting titles on these things at all? Like, what are we doing from the competitive side and expanding it to more? Are they going to offer prize money for this super championship that they're not going to pay out and get criticized for? It's just like, do one, do that well, do it right, and then maybe expand. Back up the way that it was. Like, if they're going to go backwards, it's like, go all the way backwards. Just have one championship, whatever distance you want it to be, make it crazy, make it just like, hey, it's a beast, but it's also 17 miles, and there's 5 spear throws, and like there's 20 carries. Like, just do that. Don't make all these dumb like world championship events that they're not going to follow through for, and it's just going to be frustrating for us as fans and especially for the athletes. Like, no.
This right
That's
here,
a good point.
That Rich right there, that's the YouTube clip or the
social
teaser,
breakout,
social media right there. That rant, that was good.
If they could just clear their outstanding debt to athletes, and assuming that there's gym owners, vendors, and contractors as well, if they could just clear that, I love this idea. But yeah, you're right. There's just like, this is the guy that's like, I swear I'll never cheat on you again. And like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm texting my side piece. But don't worry, I'm never going to cheat on you. He's just over and over. Like, I'm going to buy you another earring, another ring, another necklace. Like, but you're not going to do. And so, yeah, clear out the outstanding debt. It's very clear now that finally they jumped the shark with the athletes. Yes. The pros did not show up outside of a handful to any of their big events this year, because they've all said the same thing. Like, as much as Chris is one of the worst human beings I've ever met, like, she's generally like regarded as a really nice, patient, forgiving person in this sport. And she's like, I'm out. They just won't pay me. I'm not going to show up anymore. Like, if you've lost Lindsay, Ryan, Chris, like, who's going to give you more grace than
Nicole,
those 3?
Yeah. Or, well, she's not in the same.
I don't think it's going to happen. So to your point, even though I love the idea, you can put on 50 world championships. The pros aren't going to show up. And the only thing that makes a world championship is the depth of field. Like, that's the only differentiator between goofy games and something in the Olympics.
Yeah.
The Olympics full of goofy games. It's just the very best in the world do it.
All right. Here's a question for you, since we just named a bunch of North American based athletes who just kind of, they're done with OCR. Add VJ to the mix also. We haven't seen him this year. All right. We have the Sprint World Championship this year, Croatia. Beast World Championship, Abu Dhabi. Ultra Beast World Championship, Morzine, France. Like, are they just moving away from the US side for competitive are because they know they're going to get athletes in Europe to show up to this. Realistically, a lot of big names are already showing up for Croatia and have committed for that. Middle East, you have people willing to travel, especially if they're gonna put up, $50,000 total for the prize money. Again, you're gonna have people show up, whether or not they're happy with the sport or whatever. But a lot of athletes in Europe, prize money just hasn't been a thing through the years locally. So I don't think that they're as bothered by it as most of the names in the US who have kind of not been entitled, but been accustomed to it through the years. And now it's gone away. Like it affects them more because they're like, hey, you took this benefit away from us. Why would I want to go to something when I'm used to having this perk and it's no longer there? But I think that Europeans, they're going to show up regardless. And would it make sense for Spartan to hold every championship that they have outside of North America?
Yeah.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because like we just said, there's not the US athletes or the North American based athletes also tried to build their lifestyle around being a competitive athlete. And if they're not doing that in Europe, they're probably not receiving the same type of criticism for the slow payouts. And yeah, why not? If they're getting great turnouts, but they still don't care. They don't care about who shows up for the elite race. Like I don't think that's something that they're thinking about.
Isn't it weird? We've talked so many times, and Rich have made the point plenty of times for High Rock. It's like they want names. They want this person there every single time. They want to develop characters, basically. And OCR at this point, it's like there's no character building. There's no recognition, consistency over all these courses. Who has been to the past like 3 or 4 big races on the OCR side? Like every single one of them? Probably no one, realistically.
And numbers are up. Like the characters and the sport storylines don't drive the bottom line. So why would they invest in it?
They're looking for bodies rather than characters.
Right. So the sport isn't something that they care about, right? And we've known that for a couple of years, but now it's just like clear as day. And on their end, it's like, I hope that they realize this, but just like stop with the championships. Like just stop. We don't need them.
So then question, Jack, you talked about, you maybe alluded to this. I don't know if this is where you're going with it, but for all-time rankings now.
Yeah.
We're starting to see people get world podiums, world championships. What does it all mean? How does this affect things?
It sucks.
You can't take away the fact that Ulrike is a world champion. There's not going to be an asterisk.
People. Yeah.
But what does it mean?
I don't know. What is a good example? What is something that we could, like, does the
bubble?
Bubble
NBA championship.
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
But then it went right back
Kevin Gregory.
to a good again. It went right back. We're not guaranteed this is coming right back to everyone's back next year.
Yeah, I was thinking more like old, like the 74 Dolphins, right? They're undefeated, but they played like 14 games.
Exactly. Yeah. Or if you like led the league in passing and you had 3,000 yards, it's like, well, it wasn't a passing league, so it wasn't the same type of.
Or someone who would lead the league in passing 20 years ago who was like 10th in the league now.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
or the replacement players in baseball that year. That's what this feels like.
Babe Ruth wasn't facing 97-mile-an-hour cutters. Like, sorry.
He would have knocked him out of the park, dude. Don't even worry about the Babe.
I love it when people are like, Babe Ruth wouldn't even make a high school baseball team. It's like, okay, he wouldn't have been an all-time great, honestly. Like
he was hitting home runs with a dead bat and a dead ball and a hangover.
He would have been fine.
Yeah, but he was facing guys who were like 5'7", working as plumbers and stuff. Like, sorry, those
he would have been good
most pitches weren't invented yet. Wasn't happening.
False.
Look it up. But
there's this fallacy that athletes improve dramatically over decades, over generations, like that the human being is superior than it used to be.
I think baseball pitching is undeniable, though.
Yeah, but how much of it is just skill and training? Are you saying that if you took the 50s era's players and put them through our farm system in our youth ball, that they wouldn't be able to do it?
I'm talking
suddenly there's just 1,000 new people that are all better. I'm just not buying it.
I'm taking specifically 1927 Babe Ruth, his training. You put him up, no adaptations. I don't think he would have been as good.
Right.
Yeah,
but that's
you put him in as a 6-year-old and he's the #1 overall draft pick, or at least
be that guy.
mix.
Yeah, he might be Otani, Babe Ruth.
When everyone's like, athletes are getting faster and stronger. It's like, are they?
They're not born
We had a
that way.
9, what did Bob Beeman or whoever run 9.9? Back
He
in
was
the
the
day,
long
now we're
jumper.
running what, 9.7?
But this is also a thing, BK, you talk about when and you mentioned it before about just like your genetic ceiling. Like it's either one or the other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I think it is the training piece. Like, yeah, if you put Babe
It
Ruth
is.
in, he'd be clocking them. He'd be smoking it.
I don't know about that.
We've
do you
been between
mean?
9.9 and 9.7, let's call it, for like 50 years with the advent of actual shoes and actual tracks. Like the human being has not advanced that much. It really hasn't. The training, the science, the drugs have advanced enormously. The human being is not that evolved.
Right. So like, if you're the best in the world back then, like everybody else was the same as they are now.
Right.
It is weird though, if you look at track and field as an example, like your 100 meters, 200 meters, you're seeing pretty similar marks. And obviously drugs had a role in it, like the 80s, 90s since then. Distance running has just exploded. Some of these, PRs and world records that have been happening lately, it's absurd. That has to be a little bit more towards the shoes. There's some super drug
And
that
training.
people,
Yeah, training's a longer event. There's more room to
Shoes,
grow.
track help distance runners more than it helps sprinters. I don't think that's debatable.
The mental side, like we talked about, the longer it gets, the more it becomes more upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sprint training was pretty darn advanced early on. Speed and strength training got figured out pretty early on. Endurance running there's a lot of voodoo involved in that for a long time.
Can't break 4, man. Heart will blow up.
That's right. Women can't run 5K.
Yeah.
Or their uterus will fall out.
Even like, yeah, them scaling
some stupid
women's
stuff.
event, even women's cross country.
They
like, what? Why do we?
They had the 80-meter hurdles instead of the 100-meter hurdles.
They still have the 100.
100
Well, that's due to stride length,
which is also foolish because there's a
they will just change it.
That's the exact correlation of average male hurdler to female hurdler height. Like we don't scale anything else according to height in track and field.
Yeah. Right. They don't run
I will not buy there at all. Then all the men do is talk like, are we 7-stepping? Are we 8-stepping? Are we 5-stepping? Are we 6-stepping? The women would do the same thing at that. They would just take an extra stride.
Yeah.
Just the dumbest thing to ever let women do a different distance than men. Not let, force them to.
College cross country at 6K versus 8K until championship time, at which point it's 8K, then 10K.
Like, they can handle it at championships, but throughout the year, my goodness.
No way.
That doesn't make any sense either.
It's archaic, and no one's just stopped and said, all right, we're done.
Can we make this just the same?
The only argument that if you look at any event, typically 9 to 11% slower is the difference between women and men. So it's like, if you're a woman running the 400, should you actually make it 9 to 11% shorter so that your duration?
Because they were competing against each other, yes, but they're not.
I know that. I'm saying like that's the only argument you can make about like why the distances should be different. Because it's like, oh, we want the same exact time domain as opposed to now you have to hold this crazy, level for 2 more seconds versus the male counterpart at that same distance. But you're never going to get it perfect.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah. It's a valid straw man you're building to make fun of the other side. Correct. I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move along. So
burn it all down.
Yeah. I want to go back to your point, Bracken, about
Babe
like
Ruth?
the all-time greats. No, the all-time greats. Like, how does Luca get added to the conversation? Does Ulrika at this point?
No.
Luca's won a European.
This was the first time this event happened. There's nobody to compare it against, and like, I don't know, Jack, you got the rankings, man. How many people in this
you've got
field
you've got the rankings.
I don't have the rankings. You think I created a whole ranking system?
You have the spreadsheet. That's what I'm saying.
What spreadsheet? Oh, I'm saying, Jack, you
rankings.
we have our stupid rankings, but Jack, you have the rankings that like go like strength against schedule and like people,
how
they lined up against each other, right? Like,
so Luca has a little under 50 races in his life. I'm just gonna filter these out by like big races at this point. So he's got.
Can you do the strength of schedule of this race in Morzine versus?
No, I didn't. I haven't done that yet. I haven't done it yet.
That's what it matter. Not what he's done within the races that he's run, because I'm sure it looks great, but like,
Yeah.
who's he going against?
Well, I'm saying like if in his life he's got a second place at European Championships in 2021, he won it in 2023. He got fourth place behind Albin Batras and Atkins at Alula. He just won the Ultra Beast World Championship. He has several top 5 finishes at, including a podium at the Trifecta World Championship, 9th place in the Abu Dhabi Beast. Like, he's got a resume at this point.
Yeah.
I don't think we're arguing that he's not good. He's a stud. He's an absolute
I know
stud.
that I'm saying
just that we can't get the top people there to prove it against. The same thing we said with Hawk.
Does he get 9th here if the guys actually come? Like, it's not like he's the top of. Not like those guys have aged out. They just aren't coming.
It's the problem. We said the same thing about Hawk Call. He may have just put on the best performance ever, and we're not sure because the other guys weren't there. Like, he just crushed everyone in Morzine. Luca crushed everyone. What do you win by 20 minutes?
Roughly, yeah.
And then pull up Thibaut. What's Thibaut Jean's resume like?
Let me filter him out.
But we need someone to set the curve for the class always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. It's like you need to face someone to prove it. But yeah, if we look at
Thibaut not even Jean, on him, I'm saying for the race. Like, can we call it a world championship? How many best people in the world showed up?
Right.
Fair enough. Yeah. So Thibaut Jean got 3rd place in Andorra last year at the European Championship. In 2022, he got 15th. He has he probably doesn't have the same resume, but he's typically finishing around like 10th or so at Trifecta World, even when the U.S. athletes go over there.
Pretty good. Like, if he was racing in the national series in the U.S. in like 2017, is he top 20?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No doubt. So?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
who's our line
in the national series? Thibaut Jean has 9 different French national series podiums, and like he's facing guys like Jeremy Gachet, who podiumed at Worlds, Manuel Defoe, who won the U.S. national series. Like,
who's his player comp in the U.S.?
Yeah, good call.
That is a good question. I would say,
who's the Riker line of OCR right now? If you beat him, you're a monster. If you don't, you're best of the rest.
I would say Thibaut Jean is very similar to
he's good Hosick.
Tyler Veerman, maybe.
What, dude?
He's such a good climber.
Tyler Veerman murdered Ryan Atkins and Rylan Shadag in an OCR event like 2 years ago. You're telling me Thibaut Jean could have done something like that?
Got outkicked by 3 seconds in a Morzine Beast against Gregory Basilico the same year that he just won World Championship. Like, Thibaut Jean is a monster in the mountains.
If you're Tyler Veerman, we have 10th all time. So we should have Thibaut Jean above like Ryan Kempson.
No, I'll give you that.
above Richard Hynek.
I do want to just say this is going to come off as negative towards any athlete we talk about, and it's not about them. Oh no, my camera's back.
What about is Luca Piscoldrone the same as Albert Soler?
I'd say at this point
that's fair.
He probably has the same, if not a slightly better resume. They'd be with plus or minus a couple spaces. Yeah.
Are either of them Ryan Woods level?
No.
We got Woods at 9, but like, is Thibaut Jean Angel Quintero?
That might be a good comp.
He could be.
Is he the best in his country?
He's not the best in his country.
He's always had a Gregory Basilico.
Is he top 3 in his country?
He's 0.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. He's third in his country, right?
Yeah.
Gachet,
I'd say so.
Basilico, and him.
Yeah.
So
Manuel is from Switzerland.
Luca will probably make our top list this year, but like someone like Thibaut Jean, we still need something.
No, okay, yeah, he's probably 25, 30. Ian Hosick might be a good comparison. You mentioned him earlier. That's not bad.
Yeah,
if you're top 3 in your country, you're a monster.
Yeah, and Ian's been like top 5. He was top 5 in the world before, but that was when everything was so U.S. centric that it's almost hard to look at those races now and be like, are these Tahoe races? Was this really the best indication, or is this just the U.S. race? You know, because
it was the best U.S. altitude runners.
And if we're saying that OCR is only alive in Europe and Thibaut is doing all these crazy results in Europe against the best Europeans, I mean, that's a strong argument for him. But I agree. I might have overshot that a little bit. Yeah.
Like if we did a power rank OCR power rankings, like he would be. What do you think? I'm talking about Tebow would probably be top 5, top 7 right now.
Actively, I mean, he's run a couple races this year. He got second in a French National Series race in about a month ago. Yeah, he'd be top 10 for sure at the moment.
Let's do some power rankings right now. We don't got anything else to talk about.
Do it.
This is really tricky because I don't know if there's ever been a bigger disparity between European and US OCR. Like if all the Europeans came and all the US OCR people came back to Spartan race, pick your location in the United States, we would do very, very, very well. And if all the US athletes and all the European athletes picked any European style OCR brand and did it, we would not do very well against them.
It's like VJ. It'd do well.
Watching them race their courses, I look at it and say not many of us can do it the way they do it.
Yeah. Oh, the European style?
Not at all.
No.
It doesn't translate. It should be the same sport. It's not.
Like how FISO last year, we got
whacked.
We don't talk about that.
All right, let's do some power rankings. You guys ready for this?
Power rankings.
I'm sure you're ready for it also. Yep.
Well, Jack, we need your help. Put out
okay. But I got last place this week. I don't know if you want to trust me.
Well, we're going to disagree with whatever you say. I just need you to say names of people.
I'll let you guys lead it off, and I'll disagree.
Okay. So I'll nominate who I think should be number 1 right now.
Which gender?
We'll start with male because that's kind of what we're on.
Okay. Yeah.
So if I had to do some power rankings right now,
and are we saying just OCR? That's all it is. We're not saying like ultra OCR, short course. We're just saying the best OCR athlete in general on the planet right now. Okay.
So, and just when we do our hybrid power rankings for Matt at Hybrid Fitness Media, that is a right now rankings. Like if you see power rankings for the NFL, like it's like, okay, when the Eagles beat the Cowboys, the Eagles are above the Cowboys, even if the Cowboys, like, you think that they are better. Power rankings
people
show
don't understand
right now,
power rankings.
People don't understand. People like,
and they're loud
they get
about it.
So mad about it.
For the hybrid one, they're like, oh, it seems like a lot of recency bias. It's like,
yeah, that's
correct.
You just described
exactly
a power ranking.
This is not an all-time rankings.
Like Hunter McIntyre, you have him rerun that race. He's probably not getting 5th place more than just that one time if he could adjust his strategy there. But guess what? He got 5th place,
like,
so he can't be number 1.
Hunter, no. How could he be this low?
He has the best skill set, like arguably.
Just saw him get 5th. Yeah, we just saw
best body of work. Sure.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Greatest of all time.
Yeah.
That's not what this list is.
Yep. Exactly.
Jeffrey Basilico, number 1.
Jeffrey Basilico. Never heard of him.
Numero uno. Gregory Basilico.
Okay. I was like, Bracken's dying.
Oh, Europe is just like standing up and applauding Rich right
At
now.
least I gave him number 1.
That was embarrassing, Rich. Yeah.
So Jeffrey is with a G. Just got it mixed up. Gregory Basilico, numero uno.
Bracken, who's your number 1?
You know what? I might have just woke up out of a coma from 8 years ago. John Albin.
John Albin? All right.
Wowza.
I have someone different than both of you. Stein LeGrand is the best OCR athlete on the planet right now.
Stein LeGrand.
He just won the 3K and the 15K European Championships against everybody.
Except Gregory. Or Jeff or Joffrey.
Gregory, yeah,
Joffrey,
Jeff fails a lot of obstacles from. I haven't seen a whole lot of his racing actually.
I guess that's true, but
he's a Spartan master.
Yeah,
I don't love Albin being on this.
Yeah, he just got 6th the Western States. Is like he actually that good?
Well, I mean, he
came back for one race.
He's done one race.
Spanked the entire planet and reminded, I can do all your little obstacles, and I've leveled up.
What obstacles were there? That was like Warrior Dash. Max King calling him the best obstacle racer.
We'll just never see him ever again, right? Like we can't buy him on his power. Like he's run one race, and
I'm here to shake things up today.
I'll put Albin 2. I'll do that, but he's not better than Stein LeGrand at the moment.
He would struggle on short technical transitions right now. He would be exposed.
Struggle?
John.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. Albin?
He would. If you put him into 3K right now, it'd be a system shock. He hasn't felt that in a long time. But if you look at the events that we have available to us, he would have just won Morzine by a day and a half.
No, he
He
wouldn't.
beat
You would
he
kill
beat
him.
top
no, we wouldn't
three
have.
in Abu
Day
Dhabi.
and a half.
He crushed the 6 hour. He won by what, half a lap in the 6 hour, and he was going against all the best people. You think he wouldn't have won by more on terrain that he's even better at against not all the
He
best
struggles
people?
at elevation.
What, when? That
Tahoe. He
narrative's
always talks about
old
it.
enough that Drake would date it. Right? That's like a 12, 14-year-old narrative. Okay? That's pop culture reference for you, Jack.
Strong, dude.
I got it. I got it. Yeah.
Anyway, you put him at a mountain with technicality and ridge running. What has the man been doing? He's been running altitude. Like, spoiler alert, Western States, altitude. UTMB, where he won OCC and CCC, altitude. I mean, he's upped his game.
This is gonna be too theoretical though for Alvin, because we just won't see him race any other
100%.
OCR events for the rest of the time. So it's like,
But I think he only loses under 15K.
Probably, but we won't see him do that. So like sticking him at the top of the power rankings, like how is he supposed to go down?
I can't be wrong though. We don't see it.
Now that you're talking about him being the GOAT,
but Bracken also did
GOAT arguments.
Did argue the "what have you done for me lately," and that is within like the past 4 or 5 months.
Power rankings.
He has to be on it. He has to.
Power
I'm
rankings.
okay
We're
with
not
the top
talking
three.
historical.
I'm okay with the top 3.
I'm actually okay with Stein as well. And I think that Basilico actually should get bumped off before John in a power ranking because he hasn't raced this recently.
Okay.
He hasn't raced this calendar year.
Okay, I'll put him. I'll say 3rd.
Even though I think he's the best active OCR athlete on the planet, a pure power rankings, Stein probably is the answer.
Fair. And then what about Yessa?
Hot call.
Hot call. When did we last see? When did we see Hot Call last?
Big Bear, about 7 weeks ago, maybe.
Okay.
More recently than Alvin.
Speaking of, did you see the 4th of July 5K he and Hobie ran?
No.
Now it's a road race. You never know. Hawk
Very highly
1509.
Wow.
Hobie 1513.
What?
No
and
way.
47.
Wow.
Now again, we don't know what the course is, but I don't
47?
care what it is.
So Hawk outkicked them?
Or Hobie closed. Either they ran together for like 2.5 miles and got to
That's
work.
awesome.
I'd love to see that.
That's crazy.
1513 for Hobie would make him a top 5 foot speed athlete in OCR right now.
Yeah.
He's
Oh, yeah.
47.
And he knows how to do everything.
47.
That's wild.
Shilajit is the truth.
That's it.
That's what we need.
So I'm putting Hobie Call on the
Okay. Okay.
power rank him.
Put him up.
There's no rust for him. That man could step on a course and do everything.
He would probably be fine. He would probably be fine.
Yeah.
Balin Bean.
Well, now we need to talk about I'm Hot Call 4.
So who was 3? You said Gregory?
Gregory.
Who's won?
I mean, what's
Stein.
what's Gregory's most recent result?
Well, I
He
mean,
won a national series race. He beat Thibaut Jean in France at a national series, or maybe Italy. But he won by like 3-4 minutes a couple months ago.
I think just the absence of him running can't be held against him.
Where's
that much
Atkins?
Because
Where's Atkins go then?
the last race that, like, the way this would be held against him is if we saw him last and he sucked, and then it's been this long. But that's not really the case, right?
So he won Worlds, came back, and won a national series race, which puts him at 4. Hawk 5, Atkins 6.
But Atkins hasn't run this whole race.
Who's 3? Atkins ran the same race Albin ran.
Yeah, there's the same. So we either discredit everyone from Alula or those.
Oh yeah,
two
you're right,
count
Alula.
equally.
Yeah.
I have Gregory 3rd.
It's fair. No,
Because there's no sign of him not being good. He just hasn't raced in a minute.
Who has a better resume right now that could be up there?
in the past year.
If you just say 2 races, you have 2 races to prove that you're better than a world championship and winning a national series race. Who bumps ahead of him?
VJ?
What are his last 2 of the since world championship? He won his world championship and
Won his
then
world championship. That's within the calendar year. That was what, 8 months ago.
Well, are we excluding that? Is that like the close of last season? We just say
the world
2020.
championship is the last thing I count from last year.
Yeah. So
I count
I actually
trifecta as
wouldn't
well. Like the championships are the end.
I wouldn't put VJ on this list because he hasn't raced since then,
He has
despite
to be on
the
here somewhere.
the
What are you gonna
obvious that
put?
he would do it. He's been stationary.
What do you get? Like you can run a Sunday sprint and be in front of VJ in these rankings? What are we talking
So
about?
we count Gregory's Abu Dhabi, which wasn't a world championship.
Was at the same time as a world championship.
Oh, it
So
was
we
a
have
world
to count.
championship.
So we have to count VJ's as well, and it was a world championship.
Gregory has raced since then, though.
One time since then, right? Or multiple, but he has one national series. So yes, so that puts him ahead of him or even one of the two. Fake world championship in a national series versus a real world championship in crickets.
Yeah, and against Hawk Call, who has been impressive against. I mean, KBB is good, but the national series is
yeah,
much diminished.
I mean, he beat Manuel Defoe, he beat Sean Roberts, he beat Balaam Bean, like Chris Brown. There were.
I said it was good, but it's not.
I'm well aware. This is not 2017.
Not what they were.
Yeah.
So I argue Gregory / Jeffrey.
Jeffrey and then
Jeff Basilico.
Then VJ. Then Hawk. Then Atkins.
But what about our "what have you done for me lately" argument? Because we use that against Hunter.
Yep.
Well, he doesn't have a world championship. He had a result that was not.
I know
that's why he dropped. Like it wasn't that
a bad result.
Okay, you're saying the result.
Yes.
You're saying okay. Because my argument was going to be: could VJ actually currently in his shape? I don't think he's doing as well as he was before.
We haven't seen him.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Then it's too theoretical. You got to have something concrete in there. And all right, let's do maybe a couple more. We're at 5.
Yeah, Basilico only ran one race, but so Jeffrey, he ended up beating Thibaut Jean by 3 minutes, and then Manuel Defoe by a minute after that.
Are we at Luca Piscolderon here?
He's got to be
after Atkins.
Because technically Luca lost to Atkins in Alula, so he's got to be behind him.
Yep.
But he's got to be like right there. Now, do you put Luca, despite losing to Batras, ahead of Batras?
100%, because
he just won this one right here. Even though Batras has the podium at the Worlds and beat him head to head in his most recent race, like Luca has this most recent championship.
And
he was the best person at the most recent event, and it was a championship.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Unlike Abu Dhabi.
Yeah. Did you put Yesada Hair on this list? Because
I have his name here next.
Okay. Because he lost by like a few seconds to Stein.
He's a short race.
15K also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because that was where the 15K time trial, but in the 3K he lost by 45 seconds, got second place, but he was only 3 seconds behind in the 15K. So he has 2 second places at European champs ahead of guys like Sergey and many of the other European greats. And we've already talked about how Europe right now kind of the number one in the game at the moment. So I think Stein's got to be, he potentially could be ahead of Luca.
Yesa.
Yeah. Or sorry. Yeah, not Stein. Yesa.
Yeah. The world championship thing. I mean, that's where it is. Like, no, they weren't head to head.
I know. Yeah.
And now I can't put him ahead of a world champ, but I think he's probably the next.
Rich, do a screen share. I just want to see like who's on the list. We can wrap this up real quick, but
yeah, let's just get 2 or 3 more names on here. Then we'll do the ladies.
Do 2 of those trump Hawk Call?
I mean, maybe.
It's I would say Luca Piscolderung.
I think we just shuffle everyone up 1 and Hawk down.
Everybody have 1 Hawk on the bottom.
That's my vote. I'm not saying do it.
I mean, it's only one race that wasn't as competitive, so it's an easy argument against that.
What Hawk could do, right, is like, probably top 3, but like, haven't seen it. Need to see it.
Angel's been killing the Mexico series, and Aoanio, like 2 of them have been real good. So I don't know if that has any importance at the moment.
Angel 9?
I would move Luca up.
Yeah.
Above Atkins? Above VJ?
Well, Luca has to be behind Atkins because he lost in an ultra head to head.
No, he doesn't. He has another result that beats that result. And in more recent.
All right, that's fine.
Same duration.
There are also 2 G's at the end of his name, which is pretty cool.
There's also that will be the last. I'll fix the spelling later.
Yeah,
How's that?
Oh, I'm just naming it out because it's cool.
So
Luca
to
has
me,
NGG.
to me, Luca is either 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Because you have to have the world championships ranked higher than anything else, even if there's recency bias.
But with this type of world championship where they're just slapping the name on it, and
that's what all world championships are in OCR.
Yeah, but there was just a head-to-head between Atkins and Luca.
Which race had more competition?
In the same duration.
Nikolai Dam got 3rd place in both of them. Abu Dhabi and Morzine.
Seems pretty good. Above Hawk?
Not below.
And then does Thibaut Jean belong in this spot? He has to.
Yeah, I'd say probably.
I have no idea as well as that one.
You got it perfect.
How about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just looking at your list right there, and the revisions in the middle with the asterisk cheated a bunch with Isaiah. That's hilarious. But
Need one more year with the
yeah. You might get kicked out pretty soon. But anyway,
this look good. I mean, anybody we're missing?
These like you can easily argue plus or minus a couple spaces. This is pretty solid, honestly.
Only one
Do you
American
put Chris
on
Brown on there? Like, but technically he had his penalty thing.
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
There are a couple other like European style courses, like Thibaut Deboucher, for instance. He got 3rd in the short course, but he just tore his ACL and is having surgery, so he can't be on the list despite an impressive result. Like Sergei Perelgin, he got 5th at Europeans, and he made the finals in the 3K. But I don't think that that's good enough at the moment to make the list.
All right, we cool with this
result this weekend. War X. Did you guys see that?
I saw of it. I know OCR report does some coverage for them.
Jack, I'm going to need your help here. He's a young kid. I think just graduated high school. Maybe
Noah
a
Busher.
Year. What'd you say?
Was it Noah?
Noah Busher gave it to Logan
by like 5 minutes, right?
Wow, really?
At War X, yeah.
Shoot. See, that's a
this
bummer
is a kid who can run. He's young. He's been doing a bunch of 50Ks, and he's a ninja warrior.
Yeah.
That's what's a bummer about this sport for a kid like him, right?
Yep.
Who, if he was coming up, could probably compete against anybody in its heyday. But now he's just like, needs to do War X.
Kevin Thompson has several Spartan wins, and he's real good at Savage Race, and he beat him by almost 7 minutes as well. Yeah, he was on my names to watch young kids, so it's cool seeing him kind of grow into it.
He's this generation's VJ. He's a teen who took to it early, but at this point in his career, he's significantly better with grip obstacles than VJ was at that time, and has already run like 350Ks.
Is he Alec Blennis then?
No, I mean he's long. He's faster than Alec ever was.
Well, I'm saying young guy taken to ultras who's also competitive against some of the best.
I think he's Alec combined with VJ. That's the skills. That's his skill set.
I think that's disrespect to VJ also, saying
VJ wasn't the truth at 17.
Sometimes your pro comp is.
He's the truth at 20.
Yeah,
that's his
I think this kid has learned. He's him because of who VJ was and what VJ did.
Okay.
But I'm not saying he's better than VJ. I'm saying that his trajectory currently, he's ahead.
And Logan just ran like a 2:28 marathon. It's not like he's not in shape. We know his accolades on obstacles as well. He's beaten VJ in an obstacle dense course before by several minutes. What was that one in Ohio? Can't remember the
glory. Was it?
No.
Indian Mud Run.
Indian Mud Run. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know the story of what happened on course. I don't know if Logan got stuck somewhere.
Honorable mention.
But
Kevin Thompson
gets honorable mention for me from that.
Be on the lookout.
Pusher the pusher.
Next up. All right, what about women?
I've got mine in.
Alyssa has to be.
I don't think it's I think it's gonna be unanimous.
Oh, she won European champs. She won a Lula. She won or second place in the 3K, was she?
She won it.
In what? In Alula?
No, in
the 3K.
No, she didn't win the 3K.
I thought Lindsay got that.
Yeah.
No, not Alula in the most recent one. She just won something short.
Oh, she won the OCR.
Yeah, she won European champs.
Yeah, she's been winning everything.
Both distances. And Alula, like she has the 3K to 90K range. Like that's number one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not even close.
Yeah.
She's number one across the board.
Yes.
Gender non.
Yeah.
Irrespective.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
I think it's a strong argument. Yeah.
All right, I like it.
I mean, imagine if Albin came back and won Euros, and then like, what would we be saying? That's what she did.
Yeah.
Do we want Esther too?
She does have the championship, but is the last season? That's kind of the argument against her.
Well, who else?
The only other options are Ricky.
And like if they race, like when they race, Esther gives her that work.
Yeah, so Esther does have 2 races this year. She won both of them. That's a tough. One of them was a national series race, Czech Republic, and then
Esther,
the other
then
one was a
Ricky,
French national series race.
Then I would say Sue. She won her national series race and then just took third.
Come on, bro.
Do you have something better than that?
That's not as competitive, Bracken. You know it.
We can't be ranking competition, otherwise we wouldn't count Morzine.
Annie Doopy almost finished top 5 in the men's race, and I know she's dealing with an ankle injury right now. But
I'm cool putting Annie up here somewhere.
Annie Doopy's got to be.
So that what I think I want to say Sue has 2 national series race wins, but maybe just one. But now she has a 3rd world podium. So that doesn't matter how bad her national series was. She has a world podium that trumps a series race win.
Like is Yvonne even above Petra?
Yvonne has 3 wins this year.
And a world podium.
But she lost in a race to Sandy by 11.5 minutes in a super. That's not the 3rd best racer on the planet.
I know she did well for you on your team, on your fantasy team.
3 wins in a world podium.
You go to bat.
Are we forgetting about a world podium?
Sandy Menchie had a world podium also and beat Yvonne in a race. When was that race? That was 1 weekend ago in Singapore, or 2 weekends ago in the national series race. She beat Yvonne by almost 12 minutes.
Yeah,
so is it Yvonne was super?
Yvonne was just jogging, waiting to go take a podium at a world championship.
I don't know about that.
I mean, Sandy's definitely sounds like she's above Yvonne.
Sandy's got
get out of here.
Sandy's 4 for 4 this year in wins.
You're going for your squad.
And got 3rd place at Worlds and took down Yvonne. No disrespect to her, but Sandy has to be ranked higher.
Doesn't have to.
Well, you're wrong.
But
this isn't an ultra ranking.
It's a recency ranking. And the recent world champ trumps
2 weeks ago, beating her 2 weeks ago isn't recent enough for you?
The most recent one is a world championship podium.
And Sandy's most recent one was a national series race that she beat Yvonne by almost 12 minutes in. That's
I just don't think it's a wash like you're making it out to be.
I like that you're going to bat for your team, BK.
Got it.
I know. You're wrong though.
Don't make sense. But, you may have drafted Sandy in
yeah.
So are you
picking
Ulrika for 2nd place then?
Or Petra.
For 2nd over Esther?
No.
Over
Annie,
sorry. Over Esther, over Sandy.
Ricky, I'm cool with 3rd.
Ricky, so who's 2?
Esther
for sure?
Probably.
Okay.
I think so. And then we're opening things up like
have you guys been checking out the Savage series this year? I really don't even know like who's been.
What are we talking about? Stop this.
I'm just saying there are other races out there.
Stop.
Honestly, another name. I'll just pull up the.
I'll bite. Who are you promoting? Who's your vote from the Savage series?
I think he was just asking.
No, I was
think he was
asking.
looking for names.
Yeah.
Well, it'll promote me then because
You're on the microphone?
Huh?
You're on the microphone for Savage?
Nah, the Green Brothers went what 1-3 or 1-4 there, and I split them in a race.
Oh,
I
so
gotta
that
be
means
an honorable
Bracken's up
mention.
there.
BK's
So,
got to
yeah.
be top 50. We'll stick BK at
17. Put me in the
Yeah.
17 spot.
He's
I'm
in the
comfortable there.
17 spot.
I mean, Casey Monroe's going to be up there. She has podium of both of the U.S. National Series races. Rose Wetzel got second in Big Bear, and Casey was about.
I support that only if we compare that
minute
to
behind.
the Euro podium and make sure that the second and third place finishers there are equally represented.
That's what I mean. I don't think these U.S.
Yeah.
podiums are what they were. Like Annie, I'm okay. I like Annie for fourth. Like I think that is.
Yeah, I mean, Helena Schuster, Henriette Bardrum, Linnea Stenson, and Katrin Leveros. Those are the top 5 on the women's side for the short course European Championship.
Let's contrast that to the 15K.
Yeah,
I need to pull that up.
15K.
You guys debate others.
Where's Lindsay go? She's still.
Real quick question for you. So Lindsay just had her baby yesterday, or publicly announced. Do you think that her daughter already has like a VO2 max of 70 or something?
Gonna
get there.
It'll be dropping quickly now that she's not umbilically
attached,
connected to.
That's a good
Lindsay.
point.
Yeah. Her oxygen saturation and just the strength of the red blood cells are going to drop pretty quickly right now.
Get that pulse oximeter on that finger.
Yeah,
see what it says.
But congrats to them. That's going to be if OCR or whatever sport their daughter wants to compete in, she's going to be really good.
There's no guarantees in this life.
Should be.
Maybe she'll be in the music.
She's going to be active. We know that.
Yeah,
probably going to be world champ, but there's no guarantees in this life.
She might revolt against it. Be like, what my parents did was not cool.
Yeah.
So,
like you did something dumb, like motorsports.
Hey, you and Atkins can just be hanging out, drinking Busch Lights, watching the carts go by.
So the OCR European Championship doesn't even have results on their page for 2024. Of course. They're killing it.
So how do we grow the sport?
Yeah. No, but where would you put? Okay, wait. I think I found a back way of getting it. Where would you put Rose and Casey?
No, I don't
honorable mention.
High. Yeah.
All right, day 4 European Championship.
Because they had results there for a minute.
They do, but it's just not on their normal website. All right, day 3. Yesterday. Okay, this is the correct one. Sarah Beckstrom, she finished second. Definitely. Okay, Helena Schuster from Germany got second in the 3K and 5th in the 15K for OCR European Championship. She has to be in there.
I think that trumps the American duo.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah. And
where was Sarah?
Sarah Beckstrom was second in the 15K, and I thought that she was like 5th or 6th in the no, she was 8th in the 3K.
Oh, so that's an interesting conversation.
So a 2 and 8. 2 and 8 versus a 2 and a 5. 2 and a 5's got to win out.
Oh, I thought you said it was a 3 and a 5.
Nope.
Oh,
who rounded out the podium?
Less interesting conversation.
For which distance?
For both. For 3K.
Okay. 3K. I'll just read the top 5. Elita Petrova by like almost over 2 minutes. Helena Schuster, Henriette Bardrum, Linnea Stenson, and Katrin Holland-Leveros were the 1 through 5. And in the 15K, you have Elisa Petrova 5 minutes ahead of Sarah Beckstrom, Elsa Reipstra, Svetlana Filipovic, and Helena Schuster. That's your top 5. So no repeat names there.
Schuster.
But I would. Well, I know other than them. Henriette Bardrum, she ended up 7th in the 15K, and she was 3rd in the 3K. So she's got to be on this list.
What about Nicole? Nicole should probably be like 4th or 5th.
She was leading, Alula for 80% of that, and
I only count finishing position.
I know, 2nd place though.
Has world championship. I'm actually going to put her 4th.
Do we have any intel on what happened with her and Morzine? Is there a definite reason why she didn't go?
Probably money. That's my guess.
Probably wasn't. Yeah, didn't want to count on waiting for Spartan.
Just too bad. Spartan can't
Yeah, just
pay their
One
outstanding
more.
debts.
it's true.
Jack, one more name we haven't spoken of.
I think Lisa Musakio has to go on that. She got 4th in Big Bear, but she's won like something ridiculous, like 12 of her last 13 races that she's done. She was in the National Series race in Canada. I don't know if you saw. I think we talked about that, and she ended up winning the National Series race in Mont Tremblant.
Okay,
She's got to be mentioned.
put it for 10.
Yeah,
10
spot. Nice, we did it. These
all
are.
right, let's see this list.
I'm just gonna
Screen
read
share
it.
again.
It's Alyssa Petrova, Esta Hortabagiova, Ricky Evanson, Nicole Miracle, Annie Doobie, Sandy Menchie, Yvonne Shu. How are we saying it? Sue?
Shu. Yeah.
Helena Schuster, Sarah Buckstrom, and Lisa Musashio.
Nah, Yvonne's at the end of this list. No disrespect.
That's disrespect.
Like Helena getting 2nd place at a championship and Yvonne getting 3rd.
I think that's true.
World Championship.
European Championship
fitness.
is better. All right.
I like that you're standing on this. Who was top
If
3
she was
at,
on my team, Bracken, you wouldn't be going up to bat for her.
Who got
I
third?
would.
Because she helped you get a win in fantasy this time.
Who got third in the Lula?
For which
Lindsay got 5th.
For women.
Alyssa, Nicole.
Was it Esther?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's kind of concerning.
And that was the bet. I mean, that should probably count toward for more than anything this year.
Yeah. All right. Alula Yanka got 3rd. Esther 4th. Yanka just had meniscus surgery, so she can't be
she's
on this list. If we're taking Thibaut Deboucher off, Chris Rogloski got 7th there. Petra Arvella, actually strong argument, 8th in Alula, and the names that she was behind are like some of the best, and she just got second here. Petra's got to go on it. So
is Yvonne out?
How is Yvonne going to go from 6th to out?
She shouldn't have been.
Lisa's got to go.
No,
Lisa's honorable mention
in front of Petra.
No,
Did you watch the Canadian race?
If you lose
Can
by
you
12,
with a straight face say that field matched up against
Alula,
any of those other championships
just
we just talked about?
She got 4th in a National Series race behind Casey and Rose.
Same argument.
All right. That's why we have multiple voters. We don't have to agree. You guys are wrong.
And he starts that field with like 1 foot.
I know. I watched most of it. Like
I know. So you're like,
minute.
they got 2nd and 3rd. Like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
The strength of a field in North America right now pales in comparison to any other area of the world.
It's worse.
And it sucks. Like I'm all for
You
USA.
think Australia and South America and East Asia are
any of these championships we just talked about, European championships, Alula, Abu Dhabi, Morzine, there's no comparison right now. And it sucks as an American to say that, but it is true. The Americans have given up on Spartan because of the money. And as a result, our fields are the most watered down they've ever been. And go watch the start line take off in that Mount Tremblant race. And if you blink, you missed it. Not because they were so fast, because there were so few. And there are people walking 100 meters into the race.
All right. One other question for it. I mean, people were walking 100 meters into Big Bear also, but we didn't mention Ida.
What has she done?
Yeah, I was gonna say if you had any argument, she DNF'd, or she had that DQ issue. Remember, there was that weird band mix-up for European Championships, and she did get 4th at the 3K Worlds in Abu Dhabi. But
yeah,
I think honestly, it's kind of like VJ is like, well, he hasn't really done anything lately, but you're still giving the respect points.
Except she didn't win.
Yeah, she didn't win.
Well, 4th place at Worlds means that if she races one more time,
and it was close.
She's on the next list.
Yeah.
Yes. And like her fitness and her ability level right now is probably of the top 5 if she didn't get that DQ, but it's just a result. We have
She
to,
won
we have to
the
take
hot
in
lap.
consideration.
She won the hot lap for
Wins a
Abu
win.
Dhabi.
Wins
Yeah.
a win.
One other name, Pavel Hrdina, who got second place on the men's side. I just realized this at the 3K World Championship. He has won 3 national series races this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's got to be on there then.
Or two national series. Another one was a local.
Above or below Yesa Daher?
Below.
Above or below Hot Call?
Probably above, just because he has the second place at Worlds. And Hawk won 1 national series race. You know, Pavel has 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just simple math at this point.
Yeah. All right, we got a top 11. Good for us.
Yeah.
And shout out to BK for holding up what they always say about this podcast being anti-American. So I like that.
Here I am arguing for the Americans, and Bragg is like,
Jack.
no, this person from around the world who I didn't know about until last week. She's so good.
Oh, let's not say it was last week, Jack. You
2
don't know
weeks,
my YouTube search history.
I don't know if I want to.
I'm plugged into the Jakarta season opener.
Yeah.
Come on now.
All right.
I know Pitbull grew his hair back out and it's causing waves, but he and I are still Mr. Worldwide.
I have not seen
for different
that.
reasons.
All right, that was fun. I think we did enough today. I was going to talk about the hybrid ultra stuff a little bit more and seeing what directions that's going to go. With Deca Ultra coming up, but we can talk about that next week. Anything else? Did you guys see the first announced workout for the CrossFit Games?
No.
They're doing the hero workout Chad, which is
about the step up one.
1,000 step ups with a rucksack on.
That's so lame. That's
Super
gonna blow
duper
up.
lame.
That's gonna blow people up though. For
Under
later
what
in
is
this.
it? 24.
I think it's 35, 45.
How much is the rucksack?
45. I don't think they have. I don't think they've announced that yet. What the weight is going to be, but traditionally in the hero workout, it's 45.
You're gonna do that? I'll do that with you.
I don't really want to do that.
I'll do a
would
sandbag instead, or a weight vest. But
I think
I'm
someone's
not-
gonna someone's gonna blow an Achilles. I bet.
I mean, it's not going to be super dynamic.
No, it's on the way down. Like
I know, but usually it's on the rebound. You're going to have to step down and step down the other foot.
oh, it's 2 foot plant on every time. Okay.
Yeah, when people blow their
I
Achilles,
mean, you
it's
could
when they-
box jump, I suppose, but you get like
I don't
4
think you are.
reps.
No,
And you'd be
yeah, I was
smoked.
gonna say you're not doing.
I don't even
45
think
of those.
I don't think you're allowed to. I think
Okay.
it's for a step up.
True step ups. Yeah. Other notable news: Faith Kipyegon, new world record 1500.
And even more notable, Jessica Hull,
Yeah,
second place, 5-second PR.
close, like only like a second behind her.
350.
She would have,
crazy.
5th fastest all time. If
You're
you're,
353.
if you are an American woman in the 1500, you've got to be confident after seeing that, because Elle St. Pierre, she ended up she won the indoor World 3K, and she
3K.
had several battles with Jessica this year. I think she came out just ahead. She's not going to be doubling the 5K at the Olympics. And then you just saw Nikki Hiltz ended up beating her, and Emily Mackay.
Mackay.
The same
Mackay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to feel good if you're an American in the 1500, which is rare to
think
say
so.
at the Olympic level.
And Hull is like Nagoose, where their greatest strength is latching on and just holding on to a high pace. So I don't think it sounds crazy to say that the person who just ran the 3rd fastest all time, I don't think makes her a medal threat.
Unreal.
Well, I mean,
Because it's not going to be like that. And so it's going to be a kick.
You think it will? You think Faith will sit around and wait?
I mean, that might mean waiting to 600 and going or whatever, or waiting to 1,000. But I don't think it's going to be 349 pace from the gun.
Yeah.
She's so fast.
Because she's going to double, right? She'll run 1,500 5K.
Yeah.
She did at Worlds last year.
I thought she did.
And she set the world record in both last year. I assume she's going to try to double up. I would,
But
right?
Yeah.
Was
So
she
she's
the one
not
who,
going to want to run from the gun.
I thought
True.
Sagai had it.
Good if she does have the 5K.
Okay.
She got it back, but Kipyegon set it, right?
she did set it at one point. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah. One other thing, you guys, I know that Megiddo doesn't like Noah Lyles, and Bracken, you don't like him, or you
Nope.
do? Don't.
Not
Okay.
one bit.
He's an
Have you
American sprinter.
have you watched that show Sprint on Netflix?
I won't because of that.
I do want to watch
I
it, but
okay.
I actually
I
watched a little bit
will.
of his
I don't want to.
documentary that he had on Peacock
Yeah.
that was very self-serving, and it was like fine. So I think I can I think
no,
I can stomach him.
nah. Noah is pretty unbearable in that.
Oh
Not gonna
no,
lie.
really?
No, not gonna lie. We Audrey and I binged it, and I would say takeaway like Zarnell Hughes, really like the guy. Noah Lyles gives you more reasons not to like. I'm still gonna cheer for him because it's Team USA, but they've got like Fred Curley, and the dynamic between the two of them, you couldn't have picked two more opposite people there. And then you've got like Gabby Thomas, she's awesome, and then Sha'Carri Richardson, she's like Noah Lyles on the women's side. It's
A
just
little wacky, but at least Sha'Carri's at
She's
least
genuine.
she's
at least it's
genuine.
authentic. Where Noah's like,
Yeah.
how do I have to sculpt what I'm saying so
Yeah.
people think I'm cool? Sha'Carri's just like a little bit out there.
Sha'Carri, I like Audrey pointed out that after a race, like it was someone's birthday and she like remembered that, or she congratulated so and so. Like Noah doesn't do that, and Sha'Carri at least was likable in certain ways. Noah, yeah, he's kind of hard to deal with.
You can have a lot of grace for people if it's their true self. Like,
Right.
I don't have to like what you're doing, but if it's genuinely you,
Yeah.
like I get it.
That's
but
fine.
when you've
Yeah.
crafted that persona, I will rip it to shreds with
And
my
it's
judgment.
and it's goofy. It's not
It's
good.
bad.
Yeah.
I always think that doesn't sound as cool as you think it sounds.
it didn't, and I think everybody knows it.
Even with the what is it, Yu-Gi-Oh cards? You guys still were out on it?
That not my ding.
That's
I
not
never
thing?
had a Yu-Gi-Oh card.
No.
Pokemon.
Once.
Never
Pokemon for
did. Never
sure.
spent a penny on that crap. Yeah.
Speaking of pennies, I was doing a little High Rocks Metcon last night.
Okay.
And I'm doing burpee, jump front, jump back, like burpees, but just jump forward, jump
Yeah.
back instead of a broad jump. And my mat starts shifting and a penny pops out from underneath it. I
You're
made
rich.
a penny on my
Heads up.
workout, Jack.
Oh, you can. Did you create
Hey, you're like
that?
the highest paid athlete on the sport right now. You got
Yeah.
paid to do a workout.
I'm a pro athlete.
Yeah.
Was it like applying pressure to create a diamond? Do you think you just did enough burpee plate
Yeah, I
jumps
think that
to
was sweat.
create a penny?
Ton of, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweat
All that
equity?
pressure.
Yeah. Sweat, little shaving cream.
Did you stop and be like, nice?
I pocketed it in between rounds.
Have you
Was it
guys
heads
ever
up?
found
My kids are going to take it if I don't.
It's true.
what's the most money you guys have just found floating around somewhere?
I found a 20 spot at a Wawa one time.
Yeah.
Bought hoagies with it. It was great.
I kicked a cup in a parking lot when I was younger, and there was a $20 bill underneath that. I'm like, yeah, I'll take it.
Was there poop on it then?
No,
$1?
no, I didn't.
Everyone
didn't
around
care.
me finds a lot of money. Lisa,
Yeah.
my mom, my dad, because my mom and dad bike everywhere in the city, and they're always finding money.
Yeah.
My best thing I ever did, I pulled 75 cents out of a urinal one time.
That that means you went not
Going
once,
in.
not twice, but 3 times to get those quarters.
You could just go in once and
No, it
scoop
wasn't
it up.
3 different urinals.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought like 25 cents in
heathen.
this one, 25 cents
I,
in that. I'm like,
I thought you
got-
meant he went and picked out one quarter at a time. Picked out
No,
another
no, no.
quarter.
It's like, oh, it's so
Picked out a
gross. I
third
can't get
quarter.
all.
No, there's 3 in there. I'm like, yeah, that 3/4. That's I'll go get that.
I used to go around to all the payphones, and I would just like hit the pointer turn thing, and sometimes it would work. And I found probably like $5 through the years at them. One time I got $1 out of it. And I was like,
Whoa.
I don't know what happened, but I just got a free $1.
Dollar's not what it used to be.
Not at all.
Can't get you Primex strungs.
You know what can still get you? A tall boy Arizona iced tea.
Then isn't that thing like they won't raise their prices?
He said we're totally debt free. We do well for ourselves.
It's great.
We can bring some happiness to people that can't afford it. We're staying 99 cents.
It's like the Costco, like their hot dog. The
Hot
the
dog
founder
guy,
of Costco was like, I will kill you if you raise the price of this hot dog. And he wasn't joking.
The fine people in the bars in Wisconsin drinking that Arizona iced tea. Want to go to the moon?
Such a good video. Yeah. All right. Not sure what else you want to talk about, but I did
Nothing.
find in our group chat one last thing. They are going back to 2025 next year for Morzine Ultra World Champs. So if you watched it, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's probably going to be pretty similar. It seems like one of the most
we
scenic
in?
venues out there.
I mean, if you don't know what you want to train for and you're interested in like OCR and ultra stuff, like
This is a
start
race.
saving now. You know, get that flight alerts going.
I think I'm going to
Get
go
out
into
there.
pure chasing the weakest world championship fields I can to try to stay top 17.
Oh, you did that already.
Well, yeah, then I stopped for like a year or two and I'm back.
I like it.
Going back.
That seems like a lot of work.
Just do any
done some
US
ultras.
race, right? Yeah. My
Seems
longest
like a
run's
lot
19
amount of
miles,
work.
so I've never done an ultra. This would be an experience.
Rich, what's the longest you run? Then we'll head out.
I've done like that. Yeah, 30, whatever, for the ultra. So I'm like 32.
South Carolina?
North Cackalack. I think they call it.
Yeah.
It was one of those where they call it the South Carolina, but it was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
It's that November one that floats around.
Yeah, mine I got snowed out on the way to the top of Pikes Peak and had to turn around about 2 miles from the
You're
top.
gonna do like what is it like? Isn't it like 20 something?
I was
You're
going to
gonna
take the
do the
train
whole
down.
run?
No, I was
Oh.
taking the train down. It was a half marathon up with 7,800 gain, and I made it about 6,000 feet up in 19 and a half or something miles. And I was like, are you kidding me? It was just white out. Didn't look
That
like it
sucks.
at all. And I'm
Tough.
like, I got to turn back. I'm not going to die.
Tough. BK, what's your
Macaulay,
longest?
32, 33.
Same thing. 50K.
Yeah. Yeah, just over 50K, I think. Macaulay one day got bailed on by people. And they didn't meet him at the top, so he had to run back down.
Oh, we did the full marathon then?
They turned back. They were all going to go to the top and meet and get picked up. They turned back and called their ride and got him, and they thought somehow someone would communicate to him, so he had to do the full marathon. He had to come back down.
They just do like, screw them.
And there's
That's
no
rough.
cell coverage once you get above like probably
That's like a
A-frame.
6-hour run unless you're like racing it. You're probably
Yeah, if you brought like fuel and water for that.
yeah.
Going
That's a-
down with
that's a
just
bad day.
after running a half marathon up, going down, I would just be so tired.
Yeah, it's only 8,000 feet gain and now 8,000 feet drop at 13% the whole time. It's
Right.
not for the faint of heart.
Ugh. I
Yeah.
just feel like
Not
God,
for me.
what is
I
it?
never ran down it. Only up.
I haven't done either. I should do it.
Do it.
We should do
All right.
it.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Bracken,
Come on.
get a trip to Colorado sometime.
We're out here, dude. Come
As soon
hang.
as racing
going
season's
anywhere.
done, I'm there.
All right. Got a place to stay.
All right, squad. Nice work.